Will the subcommittee on zoning please come to order? On the subcommittee is myself as chair, Councillor Keefe, McKenna, Powers, Rotondo, and Zambuto. So we have them all there. This issue here is talking about the MHF Logan V LLC on Lee Burbank Highway. Jimmy, could you bring us up to date, sir?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. James Cipolletta, 385 Broadway, Revere. On behalf of the petitioner, Jeff Belzer is here with me, and he's able to answer any questions specific to the operation of the hotel. However, as we pointed out at the public hearing to the entire City Council, this is a vertical increase in order to accommodate a new modern style roofing design. They're not doing anything else in that space on the interior, and it's just required that we come for a special permit under the Revere revised ordinance to do so. Jeff can answer any questions.
So basically, you're going to increase by 33 rooms? 23?
Yes, and Jeff can explain how that's going to happen.
And you can have parking for what, 350 people?
Well, there's about 370 parking spaces currently.
Right.
And then for the hotel rooms, there's 227 guest rooms in the hotel currently. We're increasing that guest room count to 250. And we're doing that in the hotel today. There are 24 one-bedroom suites that are made up of 2 identically sized bays. What we're doing is taking one of those bays in each one of those suites and converting those into its own standalone guest room. And I'll clarify, one of the suites is used exclusively for one of our airline flight crews. It's a crew lounge that we use as an amenity for them. So it's 23 of those one-bedroom suites that are being split on half, and so therefore adding 23 additional guest rooms in that.
Exactly. Does any of your colleagues have any questions? Arthur? No? Joanne? Patrick? Any?
Talk. So I sat with Mr. Cipolletta. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And we went over the plan, because I do believe this is in my ward. And I just found it to be a no-brainer. They're going to, there's not much construction, and you're going to add rooms to the hotel. So I just think it's a great idea. Thank you.
Thank you. Council Patch? Councilor Rotondo? Councilor Powers?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Being a member of the zoning subcommittee, I certainly intend to support this. What is your net gain, sir, for the total rooms?
The net gain for the number?
Net gain in number of rooms.
We're increasing by 23 rooms.
23 rooms. What's the average? $200 a night?
150 to 200.
150.
Yeah.
Okay, that's tells me $9 a night per room coming in, and revenue for the city of Revere. Am I correct?
That's correct.
No expenses. No expenses to the city, so we're probably talking about $150,000 a year in additional revenue to the city,
Right.
plus whatever the building permit fees would be. That, to me, that's a positive thing for the city, and I intend to support it. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a quick question. Is there going to be a function room at the facility?
The hotel currently has a very small, it's more of a boardroom. It's very limited meeting space, and we're not planning on adding additional meeting space. So whatever's existing currently will be the same.
Okay, thank you.
For all the reasons my good friend from Ward 5 mentioned, I support you, along with the fact that you've been a great neighbor since you've been there. I know it predates you because you're not old enough to have been there when they built the place. However, we're thrilled to help you in this partnership and grow your establishment. And like I said many times before, if I could have 2 hotels a month here, I'd be permanent. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. There being no further questions, all those members of the Economic Development Subcommittee, Patrick Keefe? Aye. Joanne McKenna?
Yes.
John Powers?
Definitely.
Okay, George Rotondo?
Yes.
Tony Zambuto?
Yes.
And myself. We're all in favor. Can you make the site plan review part of this? Do you want to read it? Yes.
Councillor Haas, there's two conditions.
Yep.
In accordance with the city's sewer connection and expansion permit requirements, a sewer connection fee shall be paid to the city for the additional 23 rooms. The formula for the sewer connection fee is based on 110 gallons per bedroom times 10 times $1.30 per gallon. Since the proposed expansion will add 23 rooms, the inflow and filtration removal fee shall be $32,890. This fee shall be paid in 2 installments, 50% prior to the issuance of a building permit and 50% prior to the issuance of an occupancy permit. And 2, the plan shall be reviewed and approved by the fire department for compliance with fire suppression and safety codes.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the whole council?
Yes.
So be it. We pass it. Congratulations, gentlemen. Very good. The next issue would be Squire Circle Associates, 61 Squire Road, seeking permission to the Revere City Council to reconstruct and convert an existing 2 non-conforming outdoor advertisement billboards to billboards with digital billboards at lots 840 and 841 on Broadway on Ferragamo Way. Oh, Jimmy?
Good evening, Mr.
Yep.
Chairman, honorable members, James Cipolletta, 385 Broadway, Revere, and I will be representing the applicant. So these are the boards that are currently existing. What they're proposing to do is to update and digitize the boards. Nothing's going to be substantive. The plan shows no substantial change. He has the 2 existing boards that are currently permitted under this permit for outdoor advertising. And what this current application for special permit that's required under the RRO is to change those and make them digital.
They're all going to be converted to electronic, correct?
Yes,
Both sides?
yes.
Any,
Yeah, they're actually 2 different structures.
excuse me?
They're 2 different structures.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I understand that.
No, one face each.
One
Sorry,
face each, not the back side?
No, no.
Okay, thank you. Arthur?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm not a member of the zoning subcommittee, but I have a couple of questions in reference to Ferragamo Way.
Yeah.
There is residential properties there. Were any of these, were the abutters notified of this particular proposal? And the gas station also? All the abutters. Do you have a list of the people who were notified?
There is a list.
Generally speaking, when a proposal similar to this is recommended or coming before the city council, it's really somewhat of an obligation. You reach out to the ward councilor to see if he had a meeting or spoke to any of the area residents in reference to this proposal. Because there will be illumination, they'll be seeing this at night versus not really seeing anything blinking. And so I have to go on your word that you tell me that you notify these individuals. I'm not so much concerned about, obviously, about the gas station. I'm concerned about the Ferragamo Way resident. And you're assuring me that these people were notified and they have no objection, as far as you know?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay.
Patrick Keefe?
Now, the other thing is, will this illumination be reflected on the highway or any possibility of being a distraction for people, the motorists traveling or traversing Squire Road?
No, it appears that they're in the process of engaging the engineering company that will mitigate all of that. And there are standards that need to be.
How are they going to do that?
I'm sorry?
How are they going to mitigate that?
Well, it's a positioning issue, and it's an illumination, it's a brightness issue. So I mean, there are standards that are set forth by the federal government as to interference with oncoming traffic and being
Okay.
a distraction. And I just want to indicate, I did not represent the applicant when they made the application in the first instance, but Ms. Sozio tells me that they did receive the abutters list from the assessing department.
I'd like a copy of that also, the
Yeah,
abutters
in
list.
short. And we'll get that to you. If it's not in the file, we'll
Thank you.
get you our copy.
Thank you, Councilor. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Keefe?
Thank you, Chairman. Couple questions. You know, I know that you came before the council last meeting and you had asked to postpone. Could you explain why you had asked to postpone?
I wasn't prepared with counsel, and this is my first time. I apologize. I just want to do it the procedure
Yeah.
the way you would like it to be done, and I just wasn't aware of that.
And how many billboards do you operate in the city currently?
It's just the two in the city right now.
Just the two?
Yes.
Okay. And there were a number of residents that did come.
Mr. Chairman, point of information.
Point of information?
I was absent at this particular public hearing, and I just was, the council president told me there were a number of individuals who had made an appearance on behalf, and you weren't aware of that they were here in objection to this?
I don't think they were in objection. They wanted certain guidelines. They wanted things followed. They wanted the advertising for the city. They wanted to make sure that that was done, because I spoke to the women afterwards. And there was two women.
Mr. Chairman, based on this information that I just received, I would like to see this tabled until we can get further review, so that I can be brought up to date as to actually what the opposition was and what the feeling of the impulse of the residents in the area.
Make the motion at the end of the discussion.
Thank you.
Mr. Keefe, are you done?
Just a few more questions. Have there been any traffic studies brought forth yet, or any outside of, I was here at the meeting and heard some of the community impact, any related traffic information on how this may or may not impact the driving or the safety of the drivers?
I don't have a study of that. One of the boards is facing 107, and the other is in the circle, a brown circle.
Point of information.
Point of information, George?
I don't believe that we've ever done a traffic study regarding billboards, only for the purposes of traffic count, if that's what you were looking for.
Thank you, George.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Joanne McKenna?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just would like to know, I know that I've seen several digital billboards along roadways, and they change multiple times. Can you just tell me how many times that the picture is going to change, the advertisement's going to change on your digital billboard?
I believe it's 8 times.
8 times?
Yes.
Okay. Is it per minute?
Yes.
Per minute, okay. And this is going to go around a rotary? Okay. So my feelings to this is, if I was driving around a rotary and I saw a billboard change 8 times, I think that would be it would be a distraction to my driving. And you were recommended by the Site Plan Review Committee to have any request to convert existing billboards to digital billboards must meet MassDOT standards for traffic studies. That's what they're saying.
Point of order.
Okay, go ahead.
I believe in, although Councillor Zambuto has recused himself, I'll lend his knowledge of the law. I believe by law they have to do so every 8 minutes. I believe that's the statute. I defer to Tony as he works for the Department of Transportation.
From local, right. Right.
Thank you.
Madam President?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just have a quick question. I know we have seen this come before the council before, and there was a stipulation that, so many hours per month would be devoted to the community for community access or for, snow emergencies or public information. Is that in this clause as well?
Absolutely, yes.
Stephen Marabito? None? Charlie
So-
Patch?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just got one quick question. You say the cycle is 8, that it changes. What is the time frame on that?
8 into 60. Right?
Do you know? I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Like 7.5 seconds.
Huh?
Seems to be about 7.5, 8 seconds.
Yeah,
Yeah. Then it buzz off. Yeah. Mr. Powers? Right.
First of all, I seem to remember this city council, although not all of these people on the city council at that time, voting for a couple of billboards out on Lee Burbank Highway, and I think the number of, if I'm not mistaken, I could be, but I seem to recall the number of messages that could be presented were 6, and then it would, rotate again. However, that's, again, as Councillor Zambuto said, that's something that's regulated by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I understand that you're not giving up any billboards in the city as other billboard companies have. You're not taking any billboards down, is that correct?
No.
Obviously, these are the only 2 you have, okay. My main concern, and I think it's a valid concern, is we've had several oil tankers tip over, tying up that circle for hour after hour after hour, and it cost to the city of Revere for manpower, et cetera. Even if we were reimbursed, we're still tying up our manpower with regard to the fire and police departments. So that's my main concern, that people going around that circle, obviously, if they see that thing flashing up there, they're going to look at it. We're talking about the one right over the auto body place, am I correct? Okay, yeah. So I think, people looking down 107 at that billboard, going around the circle, I think that's a bad circle to begin with. It's almost as bad as Mahoney Circle, AKA Bell Circle. So I think that that's a valid concern of mine, and I'm going to not make any decisions. I also would like to have the beautification committee come up here, because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they were up here at the last meeting we had regarding billboards, and I see they're not here tonight. I don't know if they were aware of the meeting or not, but they play a very integral part of keeping our city, making our city look a little better, and they are very outspoken with regard to billboards, and I'd like to get their input if this is going to be continued, as Councillor Canasso, the Ward Council, has requested. So with that said, I'll hold any further comments until that meeting. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Personally, I would have, your mic. I would have hoped to have actually moved this out of committee tonight, to be quite honest with you. However, that'll be the will of the body. What I would say, just in reference to Councilor Powers' statement, the majority of the accidents, and having driven tractor-trailer for 6 years of my life, is due to speed. The majority of the accidents at rotaries is by speed. It's not by looking at anything other than that. Majority of tractor-trailer accidents is by speed. That's it. That's by the U.S. Department of Transportation. You can look it up. The other part of the equation is whether the CMI, I believe it's 700 as I looked it up today, but regardless, we can get that information. As Councillor Zambuto stated, the state will require you to function within its guidelines. So, I mean, that's an area that is heavily industry. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, industrial areas there, whether it be auto body, gas station, what have you. It's on 2 major highways. I can't see the reason not to, especially when we're going to get public service announcements in this process. So I would move to vote this up in committee, and that's my opinion. Thank you.
You indicated you have 2 billboards. Don't you have any down in SCF?
We do. It's East Boston? East Boston?
No, on the western part of Revere.
I don't believe so.
Charlie, don't they have some?
No, Squire Circle.
No, I just want, because we had a deal with billboards, okay? I forget, Claire Chino come in. Huh? Oh, it is? Okay, okay. So I won't speak about that. Okay, thank you. There's a motion made by Councillor Guanasso. Make the motion, please.
Motion, Mr. Chairman, is to table this until I have further review.
On Councillor Guanasso. Oh, John wanted to speak. John?
He's not a member of the committee, is he?
I know.
But he is the ward committeeman. With all due respect to Councilor Rotondo, I just don't see how anyone can say that distractions going around a rotary, coming in at 4 different angles, 4 different entrances and exits, is a billboard flashing or any other signage is not a distraction, then maybe I'm living on a different planet. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Now, as the former mayor, I know that on the 4 accidents in that area, it was done because they were speeding and the weight shifted. Okay, so now on the council, who wants to make a motion on the subcommittee?
I move to vote
Favorable?
favorably.
All right. On the motion to vote favorable,
Roll call.
roll call, and then Patrick Keefe,
No.
Joanne McKenna,
No.
Council Powers,
No.
Council Rotondo.
Yes.
Okay, and Council Zambuto abstained from this. All right, is there a substitute, that motion dies. Is there a substitute motion?
I would just like to be recorded on record as no.
Excuse me?
I want to be recorded on record as no.
Okay. Anyone want to make a motion? Patrick Keefe, McKenna, Powers?
Yeah, motion to lay on the table.
Okay, which is non-debatable. Okay, so it's going to lay on the table. Madam President, when do you want this to come up?
We have several meetings scheduled for the end of this month and for June, so whatever works for your schedule. I know June 23rd is a busy night for, May 23rd is a busy night for us.
June 6th.
June 6th, we have time. June 13th is also pending when we get our budget, so June 6th would work.
Okay, so this meeting will be transferred to June 6th. All right, James? And your
Sir,
client.
that works.
Okay, thank you. This will conclude the zoning subcommittee.